Good evening, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, it's a late night thing again. Oh my gosh, it's 25 after 12. So, yes, very late night. But we just recovered from another day out with a load of kids. And so many different comments have been made. I just wanted to answer a few of them. First of all, we're not in the West, so this must be fairly obvious to everybody because you've got 26 kids in the back of a tiny pickup truck and they're all crammed in there like sardines. And if it were the West, I would be probably in prison by now. Well, we're not in the West. We're not in the West. We're in a country where people don't wear safety belts. People don't actually, where we are in the province, which is Bohol, there's actually not very much between the city that we went, or the town that we went, and the town where we live. Very little traffic, as you probably saw in the video that Beth actually made by making a point about how little traffic there was. The other thing is that we're strolling along the road in what is probably about 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers an hour, which you can work that out for yourself, but it really isn't very fast. That's not to excuse what we are doing, the way that we live. I have a Sunday driving job where I pick up anything up to 15 people in my truck and I take them to church. And of those 15 people, about 4 are adults, parents, grandparents, grandpa, grandma, couple of moms. I take them to, and the rest are kids, and I take them to church. When they finished at church, I take them home again. Now, that's my Sunday driving job. Could I do that in the West? No, of course I couldn't. Could I drive anything like I drive now? No, of course I couldn't. But if I was in the West and I was driving home and I had about 10 miles to go, would I encounter anything up to 20 or 30 motorcycles riding without any lights? No, of course I wouldn't. Backlights, forget it. They're not worried about backlights. Seemingly they think that they are immortal. Now, so everything is so completely different as to be impossible for you guys in the West to understand. Now, someone said, in fact, this was the lady, Betsy, who financed that trip to the shops. And she said, do we know that these are all indigenous people? The question is so out there as to be impossible to answer. What we had was, we put the news out that we were going to take, I think it was 17 children, 16 or 17 children, and we were going to pick them up at Beanie's place. Now, Beanie is the brother of Beth. So we started off there. We know that there's quite a few kids there and they haven't got much. So that's a good place to start. Now, when we get to church, 3 of the little girls that bought dresses when we did our shopping, this is talking about today, which was the McDonald's trip. So we weren't going to have this escalation. Now, we were strong. As far as I'm concerned, kids are the same as anybody else. You can say no, and it doesn't matter how much you hurt them. Damn them. Let them learn that life is not so easy. Let them learn that life is not a kind thing. Let them learn all of these things and learn them easy. That's what I say. Just say no. So, we ended up we ended up buying for 42 children, and not one of them regretted. Every one of them, an absolute joy to see. I held that camera at the store and I watched them all, and I watched those faces, and they were so excited. Now, here's the thing. When you watch that video of when we are actually in the store, take a careful note of some of the faces. Some of those kids are not having a great time. Some of those kids, look on the other video, in fact, start with the other video, and look at how the children, their body language is when we arrived at Beanie's place. We pulled into that yard, and there's a ton of kids there already, and they all know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be taken, and they're going to buy a new dress. So, look at how they look. Do they look totally happy? No, they don't. They've got their arms folded. They're worrying whether they're going to be able to go. And some of them are looking and saying, it's not going to happen, because these kind of things don't happen. Nobody's going to take me and buy me a dress if they don't know me. It's not going to happen. And I'm worried, but I'm hoping. And all of this, you can see this all on the faces of the kids, except for some who are just too young to realize that maybe this couldn't happen. So they're the ones that have immediate smiles. And if we can flash forward to being in the store, these are the ones that keep coming up. You'll notice that there's two little girls, one in white and another one slightly shorter hair, and full of mischief. And they've made their choice fairly easy, and they keep coming up and showing me the dress and standing there in front of me, and the little girl in the white keeps dancing, and they are just so full of it. That was worth all of the money that we spent for everybody. And I think that the bill Beth and I are standing at the cash desk, and we've already got a rough idea that it's going to be very close. Let me tell you that Betsy, the lady that financed this, actually financed two things. She said, I want you to take as many children as you can, and we worked it out at 17. Take 17 to the store like you did before and buy them all something. And they can have, I think, between Beth and Betsy, they worked out that they had a budget for each child of 400 pesos. So each child could spend up to 400 pesos of their own choice. So that's all worked out. Of course, all of that is crashed into the dust when we get to Beanie's place, because it turns out that we're taking 26 people, or 26 children, not 16. So that was a little increase, wasn't it? And of course we were very firm and said, no, get in the truck. Then we drive slowly and carefully on an almost empty road to Talibon. And then we went, and then you'll see, if you looked on my Facebook page, you'll see a picture of a truckload of kids who are imprisoned in the back of the truck, and they're waiting to start this incredible event. And they're all looking a little bit fed up because they've been told to hurry up and wait. And now they've got to wait, and the sun was a bit hot, and they're looking a little bit fed up. Well, Beth had to go and get, I think she had to go and get load or a new cable for the phone, which we use as the camera. And all the kids are waiting. Well, finally they are released, and we go into the store. Somebody said, what did the sales staff say when you marched in with like 26 children? Well, they just took it in their stride. They're Filipino. So it seemed like none of those girls who were serving, none of them blinked an eye and just got on with it. And they kept putting the dresses back that the kids got down and didn't want, and then just put to the side. And they just helped out. But I noticed the difference between the kids, that some are very, very open, some are excited, can show and express their excitement, and you'll see a couple, like we brought one of the kids who couldn't get into the truck, or didn't feel that she could. It's a little bit reserved, and she was very serious. And boy, she travelled with me in the truck along with Talik. Could I get a smile out of that girl? No, I couldn't. Well, she carried on like that through the whole thing, and hardly cracked a smile through the whole thing. Why? Because she's worried about something. She's worried that maybe all of this is not going to happen. She's going to be left out, or who knows. But not all of these kids were able to handle it. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Now, for those people who said, well, why didn't you just go to the used stores where for 400 pesos you could have bought them an entire wardrobe? It wasn't about buying a wardrobe. It was about giving an experience that a child would never forget. And I think that we did it. Well, we didn't do it. We just took them along there, and they did it themselves. They went and they were excited, and they did all kinds of stuff. One little boy stuffed about 4 to 5 items that he quite liked under his t-shirt, until his mother spotted him and told him that wasn't the way that we were going to do it. Well, anyway, so how did it go? How did it suddenly leap from 26 even, or 23, however many it was? How did it leap to 42? Well, here's my amazing wife. She never stopped smiling. She never stopped enjoying it. She never stopped just moving everybody around. Try this on, put that off, get some shorts, do this, do that, and just helping everybody to have a great time, knowing that the numbers were growing, and we actually may not have had enough money to do it. I think we had about maybe 12,000 with us, because we'd been given some money to do something else, so we had a little extra. Betsy had paid, I told you, Ma'am Betsy had paid for that trip, but she said, go and spend 400 on each child, and then you'll have enough to go to McDonald's today. Well, that sort of crashed into the dust, didn't it? Because who's going to turn away a kid? Who's going to say to a kid, you can't come? Well, we couldn't do it, and so it was a case of Beth said, well, there's 23, I think it was 23 or 26, and they all want to come. So me, man of steel, I just said, let them come. I collapsed at the first hurdle. So they all got into the truck, and we all went, and then they had this incredible time. And then they all sang happy birthday to Ma'am Betsy, and I hope that she enjoyed that, because we certainly did. And then they all said their thanks, and then you'll have seen them in the video. They all put their treasured possession into 2 bags, or 2 crates, and then we dragged those crates over to the cash desk, where the woman served us without flickering an eye. Never said, "Oh my God." No, I didn't do anything like that. She just started cashing up. She took the first article and put it in, cashed it up, handed it over to the person who was bagging, and that was it. There was no fuss, no panic, nothing. They just did their job. Well, if you look while those things were being cashed up, you'll see the worried looks on some of those faces. Is this possibly going to happen? Are they going to miss my dress? Are they going to miss my dress out? Are they going to... All the worries, everything. You saw the ones that you've been looking at that have been serious, you'll have been watching those, and they're there at the cash desk and just as serious as ever. And I think they were probably still serious when we dropped them off. Well, that takes us on to today, and getting there today and saying, well, we can only take 17, and this is firm, where we can only take 17 because that's all that we've got the money for. Yes, well, we know how that works, and we ended up arriving at McDonald's with, I think, an order for 25. So McDonald's handed it pretty good. I just went over and asked for a manager, and the manager came out and was very, very polite. "Yes, sir, how can I help you?" I said, "Well, I've got 25 children, and they all want 2 pieces of chicken and 2 rice. So that's 2 rice in a pack, about a fist size. And could we have it upstairs in the play area?" And "Yes, sir, you can do that. And will you bring it up for us?" "Yes, we will." So she said, "Do you want to pay for it now?" And I said, "Yes." And I had 5,000 pesos. And I went and I watched with the same trepidation as I'd watched the day before about the cash register as it mercilessly starts adding everything up. So we had 2 rice and 2 chicken and 1 Coke float for each child. And I had 5,000 pesos, and it came to 4,997 pesos. See? It all works out in the end. So then I left and went upstairs, and there was a lot of playing about, but when I came they thought the food was coming, so they went and sat down. They'd been sitting, don't forget, for 2 hours in that little tiny truck, crammed like sardines, and were waiting to be fed. Well, finally the food came and everybody had a great time. Now, welcome to the Philippines. Welcome to Filipino kids who've got nothing. They, almost all of them, have siblings at home. They've all got brothers and sisters at home, probably in their dirt floor house. Because we didn't go around and get kids who've got everything. We went round and got kids that we thought had very little. So suddenly nobody's that hungry. So they travelled all that way. They eat some of the rice and they eat one of the pieces of chicken, and then guess what? They're not hungry. So can we take it home with us? You see what's happening here? That they're thinking about those kids at home who aren't going to McDonald's, who aren't having this great exciting adventure that they've been watching on television for probably all of their lives. These ads where McDonald's seems like the second happiest place in the world, Disney being the first, and then, well, McDonald's is the next, isn't it? Or maybe Jollibee, but McDonald's has a certain American feel to it, so anything American in the Philippines is very, very successful. So we then have to call for the manager again, and I explained to her that I must have ordered more food than was really necessary, so now we wanted takeout. So could we have boxes? So she said, yes, we can, I'll bring them up. And then I go upstairs, and then she arrives with seven boxes, and I said, no, we need 25 boxes. so she sends somebody else up with the rest of the boxes and plastic bags, and then everybody, to a child, bags up half of their food and puts it into the box, and that's what they take home with them. And I thought that was pretty incredible, that they could have pigged out, they could have thought of themselves only, and they didn't. They thought of the family at home and how they could share this treat with those that were left behind. Now I'm going to cut this short because it just flashed up that I'm on low bat. People have been telling me I'm on low bat for a long time. This is a foreigner in the Philippines, just telling you about our McDonald's and our tourist shopping trips with the kids. Next week we're going to take them swimming. How about that? They've never been to a swimming pool. Well, we're going to change that. Could we go to the sea? Yes, we could. But some of them have been to the sea, and we're trying to give them new, unexperienced things to experience. So, next week you'll be hearing from me again as I tell you how they tried to drown me. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in.